welcome to this kind of, morning live where I love to come online and chat to you about all things EFT. That is the primary thing that we do here at the Australian Tapping Institute. We teach people not just EFT tapping. So we do level 1 and we do level 2 and level 3, like, the sort of standard stuff in different kind of flavors and packages. But we're also working on programs that for people who don't want to be practitioners, for people who just kind of want to delve into some other stuff. Now, it is on Cravings. If you've been hanging out with us a while, all of the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about food and food cravings. We're coming off primarily a time when people tend to overindulge and overeat. People then start to look at, my body, I'm not happy and I want to get rid of this weight, blah, blah, blah. Statistically, if we look at people who've set goals on, we're at that time factor where they're kind of gone now. What do people do? Stick to them for about 2 weeks. So we're at the stage where people are gone from there anyway. So, however, maybe it's a time to change around what you're doing, change around how you think about it, and change around how you approach your body and approach your own self-care. Rather than go, I'm going to do this and be really hard and fast with yourself and expect willpower to help, maybe have some kindness to yourself and take a bit of a step back. So in this call, what I want to chat to you about is addictions versus cravings. Now, not one single person on the planet wants to be labelled an addict. It has terrible connotations for us, particularly in the Western world. I don't know what the Eastern world's like, but particularly in the Western world, the connotations for addictions and being an addict is really, really bad. So I want to take all the shame out of that and all the embarrassment out of that and all the everything out of that with you, because there isn't. So, because there's none attached to it. Now, substances that we are addicted to, look, and I'm guilty. I've once again come off Christmas and gone, right, sugar has to go. I know that it crept in a little bit and it crept into stuff. It's addictive. It's addictive. It's in the food that we eat. It's addictive. It's in the manufactured packaged foods. It's addictive. It's in there on purpose. Now, if you've ever gone to Netflix or any of the other channels and looked at some of these videos, it is engineered. All of those food products are engineered to hit your bliss point. They are engineered to hit human bliss point. And by bliss point, we mean the point where the brain goes, oh, wow, yeah, I'm having that. And it's a chemical release. It's a hormone release out of the brain. So it's this physical release that comes up for you where it comes in and it floods the body with these feel-good feelings, these reward feelings, these, yeah, I really like that feelings. And that's why you can't just eat one, because it is actually linked to the pleasure centers in the brain. Now, our beautiful people who create food and manufacture, not pick it out the ground, manufacture, they know this. They know where the bliss point is. So they know how to get us addicted to all sorts of substances, whether it's the alcohol, whether it's the cigarettes, whether it's whatever's going on. And I'm talking about ingesting substances. I'm talking about stuff that we take into our body. In this call, we're not just going to talk about sort of shopping and pornography and those other addictive behaviors that have us checking out. So while I don't want to be an addict, you don't want to be an addict, none of us want the label of being an addict. I want you to also think about how are you addicted to it. And by addicted, I mean you can't put it down and never pick it up ever again. It has this, the body has this craving for it. So the body has this, I need it, I want it, I need it, I want it. So the chemicals and the hormones that our body releases at different times, our bodies crave that. Our bodies actually look for that. So where is it? Where is it? Where is it? And that's kind of the sort of the basis of where the cravings kind of come from. So let's talk about addicted. So addicted is you can't put it down, you can't let it go. It basically calls you from the cupboard, calls you from the fridge. It's your soothing space. So think of things where we talk about addictions. Think about things where it actually soothes us. We emotionally don't like where we are, what we are feeling, so we go to our thing. And that's probably more into the cravings. So let me split it out. So the cravings. I want my thing. I want to go and have my thing. I don't like how I'm feeling in the moment. I know that my thing will change how I feel. So to give you some context, I knew that for me, when I get stressed and I get overwhelmed, if I went to something that was a bit sugary and sweet, it would instantly change my mood. It would change how I was feeling in that moment quite instantly, because it boom hits the pleasure centers, the reward in the brain, oh, that feels really, really good. Now, same with people who are smoking. There will be an element of, I worked with a client many years ago, and she was very resistant to give up her cigarettes because they were her place that she got time out from her children. So it was, you'll need to go inside now because mummy's just going to have a cigarette and mummy needs time away. It was mummy's time just to herself. It wasn't about the smoking. It was about her desire and her need to have that time out. So she sort of had that craving when she got to the overwhelm. Me, when I got to my sugar, I knew it would change how I was feeling. It would give me the opportunity to, I could kind of not think about what was stressing me and worried because I was in my sugar thing. I want you to be really honest with yourself and ask, what is your thing? What is it for you that is your go-to? It's your soothing thing. It's your thing that soothes you in the moment. It's your thing that makes you feel better in the moment. It's the thing that you get to do that takes you out of what you're feeling, whether it's overwhelm, anxiety, upset, unhappy, whatever it is. Where does it take you to? They're the things we crave. So we crave all these things, all right? Then we get into the addiction space, and the addiction space has two parts to it because it has that craving for that thing right now, that thing that, well, I really, really want that and it's going to make me feel better. But let's look at why you feel the way you feel. That's the trick to getting over the things that we're addicted. I mean, for me, yep, happy to give up sugar, happily not worrying about any of that, not feeling hungry, not thinking about it. I've done this before. I've got rid of sugar before. It's not my first time, so I'm fairly conversant with what I need to do. So when I get the cravings for things, I know what they are. So let's go back to if you're having these addictive things. So you've had your thing that was your reliever, your soother. So I went to sugar. So things that were sugary and things that were sweet were the ones that soothed me, and I would crave them. But then they became the addictive stuff because every time I didn't feel like I wanted to feel the way I was feeling, I would go back to them. So it wasn't just a one-time thing. It was this cycle. I wasn't feeling good. I wasn't feeling good in the moment. I had my thing that was my thing, my sugar, and I was addicted to it. So then it would become this vicious cycle. It became the way that I liked what I was feeling. Now, there are lots and lots of complexities to addiction. I certainly don't want to belittle them or simplify them too much here. This is just a very simplistic way of helping you to explain that when we come addicted to things, and as humans do, it's sort of this by nature thing that we seem to have done for millennia, that we do this stuff where we get hooked and addicted into substances, that there's two parts to it. So willpower alone generally will not work. So for me, with the sugar stuff, particularly the first time, I had to do lots of tapping on that. So when I was like, oh man, I really, really, really want that, I'd have to sit and look at that chocolate and I'd have to do tapping and explain to myself all the reasons why I shouldn't have it and why it was bad for me and why it's not something I should be eating. I had to go into that space and I had to be able to put down the thing that I had, not that I have that now, but I had to be able to put that thing down. Otherwise, I was going to eat it and then I was going to feel bad about myself for another reason. Now, take the craving away. So I've done that part. Then I needed to work on the addictive part. Then I needed to work on what were the emotional triggers and drivers that sent me off to find my favorite soothing thing, which is what these foods are to us when we are, because I said most people don't crave carrots. I went through a stage where I absolutely ate lots and lots of carrots because for me, I found when I worked through some cravings and addictions work and got off twisties, anyone in Australia knows exactly what twisties are. I had to stop eating twisties, but what I found with the twisties was it wasn't so much, that flavorful, chemically engineered, cheesy taste necessarily. For me, it was the crunch. There was something about the ability to crunch, crunch, crunch that really satisfied me. So when I could break down the emotional side of why I went to the twisties and why I needed the crunch, 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 it was really easy to just not want them anymore. And I just don't want them anymore. I don't eat them anymore. It's not something I even think to buy. Yet before, every time I went to the supermarket, twisties were my thing. So I want you to sort of recognize that there's two sides to it and we can work on both sides. Whether it's food and cigarettes are probably the easiest for that call. Alcohol you can work with, but it's more challenging because you kind of got to be drinking at the time when you drink. And that's the other thing with foods and chocolates. We've kind of got to be thinking when it's a time that we would normally have them. I worked with a guy who we were trying to get him off brandy, which we successfully did, but we're doing it at 9 o'clock in the morning. He didn't drink brandy at 9 o'clock in the morning. He drank brandy at 5:30 in the afternoon when he finished work. That was his little treat and his reward. So we went to there. We did the 5:30. It was a great call. We got to record it. It lives in my school. So my practitioner, EFT practitioner students can review it. But you've got to be looking at the time that you want to have that thing. Now, if you're someone who's a would-be practitioner, I know that practitioners who would like to be practitioners come to these calls as well. From that practitioner, you can also then, I can show you how you're going to work with your clients to help them overcome cravings. Because let's face it, it's a fabulous niche to be in. It's a fabulous space to work with people to help them to really get the body that they want and the health and the fitness and the wellness that they want by releasing all the emotional garbage that go with it so that they can have that. So make better choices. So I have loved being here with you. Much love to everybody.